Give it a minute. Make sure this thing is fixed on my face. Hey guys, this is Mike. Welcome to another live video from MojoGrip. Glad you can join me. If you're here with me, just say hi in the comment section. And also tell me where you're streaming from. That really helps me. Hey Jack25, you're the first one here. I appreciate it. Eric C, what's up? Z King, how is everybody doing? Hey Carl, what's up, man? Norman, appreciate you joining. Alex, Mondo Marshall, appreciate you coming in from all the way from Corona, California. I hope you're not streaming from the airplane, man. Okay, so I'm glad everybody's here. So, if you can tell, I've been making a series of live videos. I think this is the third one in like a month. And so my plan is to actually do this once a week, which is what I promised a lot of you. So I want to try to keep that up as much as I can. And again, the setup I have here, my camera is to my right side. The microphone is right here, and I have my computer screen in front of me. So guys, please tell me if you can hear me and if you can see me, because this thing still plays some tricks on me when I'm trying to set up. So make sure you let me know in the comments if you can hear me and if you can see me. Okay, I'm just gonna say hi to everybody in the comment section. Carl says it's chilling. Hey guys, if you don't know about Carl, he's the guy that so he's been featured on the channel before, and he's the guy who owns the, I think it's a 1967 Piper Cherokee 235. You guys check out his channel. It's called ENTP Live. This guy, he's living my dreams, basically. He's a real estate investor, has his own business, and he uses the plane for pleasure. And I think he's trying to grow his real estate empire. So hopefully he'll be using an airplane now for his business. But you guys check him out. Actually, I'll type the that's the YouTube channel, ENTP Live. You guys go subscribe to Carl's channel. All right, good. So we got enough people here. I have my notes here, and I'm gonna just go down the note. First, I hope everybody's doing good. I know it's a Sunday night. A lot of you probably have work tomorrow. You have no business watching me on YouTube, but I appreciate you joining anyway. So a few things I want to talk about. If you noticed, actually, a couple of days ago, I ran a few surveys in the community tab. If you were checking that out, so what I wanted to do is, I have my own upload schedule that I upload videos on MojoGrip, but I want to start, uploading more also when you guys are watching, because when I look in the numbers, they look good, but a lot of times it's showing that only a few percentage of MojoGrip subscribers are actually watching these videos. A lot of the views comes from just strangers or people who discover the video through YouTube algorithm. So, and I'm not complaining about that at all. Obviously any view is good, but I want to upload whenever you guys are watching. So that's why I asked all the times that you watch the videos. I want to know what time you typically watch YouTube, so that's why I ran that survey. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. You're welcome, Carl. And Carl, you now owe me $300. And by the way, guys, Super Chat is on. So that's a way you can support the channel with the Super Chat. It's basically a feature that allows you as the user to contribute money through YouTube. And whenever you do so, it highlights your comments in this big bang. So it makes it look nice. Okay, but let's continue into the live stream. So with the video uploads, since we crossed 100,000 subscribers, what I want to do, obviously I want to try to keep to the amount of videos I upload every week, which is 2 to 3 videos a week. But also, I want to try and upload those videos whenever you guys are actually watching YouTube, not just whenever I feel like it. So that's the point of uploading the asking you those questions in the survey. Now, if you notice, I uploaded this past week in like weird times. For example, I uploaded a video last night. I never upload on Saturday night, but I wanted to test it out and see if people are up Saturday night and watching YouTube videos. But only time will tell. I'll wait another 48 hours or so to see if that video did well or not. Okay, so I'll say hi to more people here. Hey, the People Show. Appreciate you watching, man. It's 2 a.m. in Scotland. Thank you for tuning in. Joe, thanks for tuning in. Who else is in here? Daniel, appreciate you, man, from all the way from Belize. Hey, listen, I want to buy a property in Belize one day. That's one of my dream vacation destinations. So I appreciate you tuning in all the way from Belize, man. Alex, thank you. 100,000 subscriber feels good. All the work. Tyler, thank you for tuning in from California. Okay, so that's that for the upload of the videos. Again, I'm probably just gonna keep to the normal times that I upload, which is Tuesday, Thursday, and Sundays. Now, some weeks I may upload twice a week instead of 3 times a week, but you will get at least one video, that I promise. So you get at least one video a week. And then also this live video, I want to try and keep it, you know, as consistent as possible, so I can catch up with you guys. And speaking of live videos, if you are not subscribed to the MojoGrip newsletter, just go on MojoGrip.net. You see like a pop-up, and it's gonna ask you for your email. So a good way for that newsletter is I send out emails just letting you know what's going on in terms of my schedule, what airplane I'm planning to review, or what air shows. So you guys make sure you join that. And also you can take it a step further and subscribe to the MojoGrip MVP. Thank you to everybody who's become a member on the website. I really appreciate it. And my job is to try and get you a lot more content, at least as much as I can. So that's another way to support the channel, obviously. But moving forward, so, and speaking of air shows, so if you're familiar with AOPA, they have a fly-in during the year, and there's one coming in next week, and I'm going to be there. I actually have a few scheduled interviews and some products I'm gonna check out, and then I'm gonna upload the video for you guys on YouTube. And speaking of, actually, let me post this. This is one of the, you can't see my screen because I didn't set that up today, but this is one of the, it's called Avocet. It's a new, hold on, let me see if Google will help me out here. Avocet AV24. I just heard about this aircraft, and it's still like very, very new. If I'm looking down, I'm looking at my computer screen. So I want to post in the comment for you guys. You guys check them out. So these guys are gonna be at the fly-in as well, and hopefully we'll get a chance to sit down with them, ask a bunch of questions. But you guys check out that website. It's a new design. It's a 2-seater fixed landing gear, I believe. I don't think it's a retractable landing gear, but it's an experimental airplane. It just feels like every time I close my eyes, there's a new airplane design now right around the corner. I mean, it's really good for civil aviation, but it just means you have more options to choose from. But anyways, you guys check them out and ask all the questions. And speaking of, look, as I'm talking, because I'm pretty much rambling for the next 30 minutes to an hour, please ask questions. Any questions you've ever wanted to ask me, ask. And I'm gonna get to the main topic of tonight, which is partnerships, but I wanted to go through a few things first. So there's the AOPA fly-in. I'm also gonna be at an air show in Virginia. I think that's later this month also. It's called the Oceanic, I don't even know if I pronounced that right. I didn't add it to my notes. So the Oceanic, this is an actual air show. This is not like just a fly-in. and it's gonna be at a Navy base or Air Force base down in Virginia, and I think it's mainly to get a good view of like military flying, and that's another thing I want to cover on this channel eventually, because a lot of people who write me or ask questions about how they can get into flying, the truth of the matter is when you try to go the civilian route, uh, it's expensive. It's really expensive, at least for the average person. But a way you can get into flying without having to spend or give your leg and arm is through the military. And obviously, you have to be really dedicated and committed, but it's an option. So if you are down in Virginia as well, just let me know. Come by, say hi, um, and so we'll make that happen. And now let's get into what I really wanted to talk about tonight. But before I do that, let me check the comment section. I see new people came in. Bird Strike, what's up? Tyler, what's up? Who else is in here that I don't recognize? Excuse me, Kevin. Kevin Carrydad. I hope I pronounced your last name right. So Kevin is asking, how do you find transitional trainers for RVs? That should be fairly easy. I mean, obviously it would depend on where you are, but Vans RVs are the most popular kit airplanes. So at least I know here in the Southeast, there's thousands of them, and they have a bunch of different owners. They have clubs out here that you can reach out to. I would just go on the forum. They have a forum online. Check them out. I think it's Vance Aircraft / forums. I'll make sure to double check on that. Just Google it, and I'm sure you find some in your local areas. Now, in terms of transitioner training, I don't know exactly how that process goes, but from what I know, if you can find a club or find a group of owners, you can probably get the right transition training for your RV, whichever model you decide to build. Okay, and now moving forward. So guys, partnerships. I've already established that flying can be expensive, and if you ever decide to own your own airplane one day, you have obviously, and hopefully you be able to afford it financially and be able to justify it. Now the thing is, there are a lot of people who buy into an airplane for different reasons. It could be personal pleasure or business. For me, it's for both. But what you find out is whether you're buying used, buying new, it's gonna get expensive. Not just the capital that you're putting in initially, but the ownership of that airplane. As a matter of fact, you should go check out Carl's interview that we did a few months ago, and he talked about what it's cost to own his 1967 Cherokee 235. He paid about 40 grand, I believe, if I can remember, 40 grand for the airplane, and the first year he spent about 13 grand in maintenance costs, fixing this and that. As a matter of fact, Carl, you should please just talk to the guys and girls in the comment, let them know. And if I'm saying anything wrong about your airplane, just correct me in the comment. So for someone like him, he buys a nice airplane, or what he thought was a nice airplane, which typically is what you would pay for an older aircraft. You're spending between 30, 50, or 60 grand on a Cherokee like that. But the fact of the matter is, you're gonna also spend on annual maintenance, a bunch of stuff, upgrading your equipment. And now that ADS-B out is gonna be mandated from, I believe it's 3 or 4 months from now. That's another cost. Now, speaking of those costs, it's a good idea if you can get into a partnership or a buy-in. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because I've been approached by different people since I announced my airplane build of the Sling TSI, and it's something that I've thought about it, but I was like, okay, it's not something that I want to or I'm interested in now. But the more I put the numbers together, and the more I see, okay, these are gonna be fixed costs. All right, like I'm estimating right now, just out of my head, to own that airplane, if I'm flying, say, 10 to 15 hours a month, or let's just say 100 to 200 hours a year, it's probably going to be around 2 grand a month. So $2,000 a month if I was flying by myself. Now, the good thing about a partnership is if you can find somebody to either buy or build the airplane with you, you save a lot of money. And mainly not just the capital that you guys put up, but once you have your airplane, you're gonna have costs for your hangar. That's cost that doesn't change whether you fly the airplane or not. You're paying for the space that you store in that airplane. You're gonna have fixed costs every hour for your overhaul. And for an airplane like the Sling TSI, right now Rotax says it's around 1,200 hours, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna increase that to about 2,000 for your overhaul. So you want to put money away for that. Anything happens, it could be a new law, just like the ADS-B out. If the FAA tells you, well, you gotta upgrade this new equipment on your airplane, so it could be something of legal, it could be something you just want to do. So when you calculate all of that, your fixed costs with hangar, insurance, fuel costs, so all those fixed and costs that changes, if you have partners, it makes it much more easier on your wallet. And so for me, I've actually been considering bringing partners on board with my airplane. Now I don't know if that's gonna happen. Another thing I found out in doing my research with partnerships, it's a little more complex than I thought. So if you ever decide to get into a partnership, and I'm looking at the comments also, and I'm gonna answer a few questions in a minute. So if you're looking at partnerships, you may think, well, it should be just easy peasy. You have an agreement. Hopefully it's somebody you like. Personality is a big deal if you're gonna get into a partnership. Obviously you want to fly and own an airplane with somebody you consider safe, sound, and somebody who's not a complete asshole, obviously. But there are legal things that you have to consider. So say for example, the biggest thing could be death. If a partner dies, who owns the equity? Do you transfer it over to other partners, or does a family member of that person now own part of that airplane, whether they have a pilot license or not? So there is that. There is conflict in timing, which actually there's a lot of really good platforms out there you can use to record your maintenance stuff, your time scheduling stuff. So that should be easy, but there can be conflict if you own an airplane with somebody else. They want to fly the same weekend that you want to fly. So you got to figure all those things out initially, and obviously get to know that person, or it's somebody you already know, and figure all those things out before you get into a partnership. So the upside is that you get to save money. The downside is you have to make sure you work together and not frustrate the hell out of each other when you own an airplane or a fraction of an airplane. So with that said, I'll answer some questions here. Boom, boom, boom. I'm just reading to see if there's a question that I can answer. Malachi J, what is the first step to getting a helicopter pilot's license? To be honest with you, I don't know. I don't have. I'm not into rotorcrafts. I love helicopters, but I don't have a license. I would have to check on that. But I would just go to a flight school and ask what the process is, or just Google. You should be able to get something. But the first step usually is just talking to somebody and getting the right information. Oh, there you go. Carl said take a Discovery flight. Yeah, you may not like helicopters as much as you think, but so Daniel is asking, should you have a projected yearly usage estimate when considering buying into by AC? I'm guessing you mean aircraft. I don't know what the C stands for. What's your opinion on minimum monthly usage to make it worth a while? That is a really, really good question. So what Daniel was asking is, when you are considering getting into a partnership or buying into an airplane, should you have a minimum of how much the airplane is going to be used? The interesting thing is, most people will ask the opposite of that question, which is, should you have a limit of how much that airplane is being flown by each partner? So, should you have a minimum? Honestly, I don't think so. But should you have a limitation? I would say no. So, in my opinion, it's it's more, I'm not sure what the right word is. It's more efficient for that airplane, and you would probably increase the lifespan of that airplane if you fly it more. So, say for example, you're in a 65-45, no, 65-35 partnership. So you own 65% of the airplane, and you have a minority owner who owns 35%. And say you fly 100 hours every year, and your partner also flies or wants to fly 100 hours. Do you now say, well, because you own only 35% of the airplane, you should fly you shouldn't fly 100 hours for that year because you don't own that much equity, so you should fly as much as your equity? And my answer to something like that is no. There should be no limitations, because it serves you better if the airplane is being flown rather than the airplane just sitting in the hangar. Okay. Now you do have to work out your maintenance costs. So from friends that I've talked to who are in a partnership, they have an agreement where one of the things or clauses they have is anyone who flies that airplane has to have pay like an hourly rate, mainly for maintenance. So they have, say, $25 every hour you fly the airplane. You have to pay $25, which will go into a joint account, and that $25 basically is going towards whatever maintenance you guys may have. Could be annual, could be oil change, could be whenever you're ready for your overhaul for the engine. So there are different ways to go about it, but generally speaking, I don't think there should be a minimum to fly the airplane, but I also don't think there should be a limitation. Except maybe you have, on average, everybody else is flying the airplane maybe 50 hours or 100 hours a year, and then you have somebody who's flying maybe 500 or 1,000 hours a year. Then I feel like that increases the liability in terms of maintenance and everything else. So if that's the case, where you have one partner who is flying significantly more than everybody else, then you probably want to have a limitation in that situation. But I hope I answered that question. And I'll go down the list. Maurice, does the Voodoo make a two-seater jet? So Maurice is asking if the Voodoo, if you're not familiar with Voodoo, it's one of the experimentals we covered on MojoGrip a while ago. It's a single seat aircraft that also, there's a model. The Voodoo model is the one you can fit a jet engine, and it's built by Revel Aero. The answer to that, as I know, is no. Unfortunately, right now they don't have one. Although one of the questions I asked the designers was, how then does a person train if the airplane only has one seat? How do you train to fly it? But from what they told me, they have other aircraft they would use to, like two-seater aircraft they would use to train pilots to be able to fly it. So, but right now, no, you can't. And think of the Voodoo. It's really built. It makes me think of a fighter jet. If you think of a lot of the fighter jets out there, it's probably just one pilot in there. So no, I don't think they would have a two-seater. Boom, boom, boom. Hey Mark, appreciate you tuning in from Maine. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, see, someone from Midwest Flying says ours is $5 a month. I'm not sure what $5 a month is. Maybe I'm a little bit lost in the conversation. But what is the $5 a month that you're paying for Midwest Flying? And guys, if you are in a partnership, please add to the comment because I'm still learning more about a lot of this stuff that I'm sharing with you. Okay, Jack25 MTH is asking, what type of legal contract should you have in a partnership, and do you need a lawyer to set it up? Okay, give me 1 minute, and I will draw up I had a sample agreement. So you should have a legal binding contract if you are creating a partnership. Now, in terms of what type, I don't know of a specific type. It should just be an agreement with bylaws for everybody participating in that ownership. And you guys, everyone will have in your bylaws, you would have certain rules that that everybody has to follow. For example, one of the things you can consider is if what happens if there's a damage on the airplane. So say I'm in a 3-way or 4-way partnership, and one day I was flying and I was coming in, and boom, I had a really hard landing or crosswind landing, and I broke the landing gear of the airplane. And obviously, normally when something breaks or there's a liability, it gets split around, amongst everybody. But in that situation, you can have a law in your contract that says, listen, if a pilot or if a damage happens during the time one individual is flying the airplane and it's caused, and that damage is caused by you and your time operating that airplane, you can have a law that says then you would be responsible for it rather than everybody else sharing in the cost of that damage. So that's one of the rules you can have in your legal contract, but you should have a legal contract. The second question is, do you need a lawyer to set it up? Not necessarily. As long as you can have a lawyer to make it legal binding, but you don't necessarily. As a matter of fact, I would say no. The reason why is I've been through this road before with lawyers. If you can have a lawyer for different reasons, but I remember a couple of years ago I was trying to set up. What was I trying to do? I was into, so a startup I had a couple of years ago was a video streaming platform, and what we did was we would have to license content from producers and whatnot. It was like a Netflix, and we pay for those licenses and then we show them on our platform. Now, I remember going and sitting down at my lawyer's office and letting them know, okay, I need you to help me set up a contract. Okay? To set up a contract and then help me lay it out because I don't want to deal with all that stuff, right? So the whole thing took like a couple of days, and the lawyer sent me a bill for like $2,000. Okay? And that's the nature, especially if you're in an expensive state like California. So if you involve a lawyer, you're going to pay some lawyer fees. But if you can have an agreement between you and your partner and then go see a lawyer, instead of the lawyer charging you to create the agreement for you, you already have the agreement in place, and then the lawyer can just help you make it legal binding, or you find other ways to make it legal binding. So that's that. Hey, who just put in 1999? Who is this? Whoever you are, I really appreciate it. Oh, Malachi J, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate the super chat. So I hope that answers the question about getting a lawyer involved. honestly, it would be a prerogative. If you do, just know that I would say get a lawyer involved once you have a written agreement. Don't if you tell the lawyer to set up the agreement for you, then it's gonna cost you more. That's just me. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, I see Midwest Flying answering some questions. Just going through the chat, guys. Hey, Stephen R. Mathis, hello from Kansas. Thank you for tuning in, man. Stephen R., why can't you fly? Of course you can fly. There you go. USNVA 11. He's in a 50-50 partnership owning a Grumman Tiger. And he says the cost to set up. So that's another thing. When you go into a partnership, you probably want to set up an LLC for that partnership. And it costs $350. As a matter of fact, you can probably set one up online. Inc.com, I use them all the time. Cost $150 to set up an LLC, and that LLC will be members of that partnership. And he says $25 an hour drive. That's the cost. That's the fixed cost every hour you fly the airplane. So that's good. Let's see. Maurice, British surplus military aircraft are inexpensive. Would you consider buying one? uh, Listen, there's a lot of airplanes I've considered buying and I would love to buy. It's the money. Hopefully one day I come into a lot of money and I can buy them. It would basically be like to collect airplanes. And speaking of buying military airplanes, and you guys just stay tuned. On my trip to the air show in Virginia, I'm gonna stop by someone's place, and this guy, I met them at Oshkosh, and he's doing really well for himself, and he collects military aircraft, and I'll be able to feature some of that on the channel. And he's living my dreams, just that's his hobby. He just goes around, collects as many airplanes as he can get his hands on, but he also uses those airplanes with air shows and for nonprofit. But you guys stay tuned. I'll be featuring some of that on the channel. All right, let's answer more questions here. Let me see and make sure I've covered most of the stuff. So yeah, we're basically talking about airplane partnership, and that's the main thing for tonight. So I'll just answer more questions. Let's see. One partner runs financial. The credits cannot go after. Oh, good. See, that's one I didn't know. So it says if one partner runs into a financial or any financial issues, their creditors cannot go after the aircraft. That's interesting. I hope you can explain that more. So, say I get into a partnership with someone, and life happens, right? And say they are going through a divorce, or something that needs medical attention happens, and they're not able to afford some of the fixed costs of that airplane, or God forbid they owe a creditor some money. So what USNV A11 is saying, that if a partner owes money, then the creditors of that partner cannot come after the airplane as a property they can sell to get their money back. So that's a good, as a matter of fact, I'm noting that right now. So that's a good rule to have, so that way the property is protected. Boom. Torgan A Plus, have you considered or given a thought on the Tomahawk? I don't know if I answered this question a few times already. Yes, I actually, when I was considering buying an older airplane, because that was the original plan, was to buy an old Cherokee, um, and the Piper Tomahawk was one of the, excuse me, was one of the models that I considered buying. Now, a lot of people have different opinions about that airplane, but I liked it. I liked it a lot. Um, and I was close to getting one. I just couldn't find any local. All the ones that I found online were farther out, but also I wanted to find something. The Tomahawk had an issue where the FAA had to issue what are those called? The ADs. So air derivatives are issued out if, say, an airplane has a common issue with the manufacturing, the design, something. So, and there's been a bunch out for a lot of older airplanes where it could be the material being used on the airplane is breaking apart or something with the wings. Um, and so the Tomahawk had issues with, I believe it was the tail end with the empennage. It vibrates or something. And also Piper, a bunch of Piper models have had issues with the wings of the airplane. So there were, it's gotten some bad rep in the training environment, the training community. Depending on who you talk to, they have something to say about the Tomahawk. But if you overlook all of that and just look at the airplane by itself, the performance, what you get with it, it's very fuel efficient. I love the cabin space and the design of the cockpit, and that's one of the reasons why I consider it. And one person I spoke to, they told me that if you are considering buying a Piper Tomahawk, you should buy the second version, which is, they call them the Tomahawk 2, which I believe came in 1982. So the first edition were built from like 77 or 78 all the way to 1981. And then from 1981, 1982, the second version of the airplane came out, which they fixed a lot of the, you know, troubles with the airplane. So I did consider a Tomahawk, but I'm not getting one. All right, let's answer some more questions. So James McCrae, do you think it is best to take an online pilot training course because before going to a physical flight school, or would you recommend going directly to a flight school that specializes in dorm type? I'm not sure what dorm type is, but my answer to that question actually is yes. And this has come up a lot. If you are considering getting into flying or getting your pilot's license, this is something I wish I did. I think it would help you if you actually start before, you can go take a demo flight. Obviously, I think that's the first thing you should do, because you never know. You have this desire, but do you really want to fly an airplane? So go for a demo flight, and if you decide I'm getting my pilot's license, I would encourage you to get a course online. I think Ground School is one of the good ones. There's a bunch online, but get into a ground lesson course that you can buy online and just educate yourself, because look, flying, a lot of it has to also do with knowledge. And I promise you that if you gain a lot of knowledge before you start flying, it makes your training so much easier, because the cockpit is the worst place to learn all these things, right? I remember during my training where we're flying, and all I really cared about was to learn how to fly the airplane and fly it right. But during my flight training, the instructor might mention this about VORs, or mention this about weather, about this. And a lot of times I just want to fly the damn plane. So my point is, when you're flying, you're so busy and concentrated on flying the airplane that anything that has to do with aerodynamics or knowledge-based stuff being thrown at you, it's not really the best time for you to assimilate and accommodate that information. So it's better for you to learn those things prior to you getting into the cockpit. I think it will help your training go so much smoother and better, and you probably finish in a shorter amount of time than the average person takes. So my answer to that question is yes. I think it will serve you well if you take a course first just to educate yourself about airplanes and the aerodynamics of flying. So what's the average cost per hour for flight training? Good question. Malachi J is asking this. So it depends on your location and the airplane that you're renting. And when you're flying or when you're paying for training, you have two costs. You're paying to rent the airplane, and then you're paying for your instructor fees. I believe the national average for instructors is $50 to $60 per hour, and then depending on where you are, you can rent an airplane anywhere from $100 all the way up to $1,000. If you're, say for example, you're learning to fly in a Cirrus, those airplanes will cost you $500 to $600 an hour to rent, compared to say you're flying or renting a Cessna 150 or a 172. I think the average cost for 172 is like 150 an hour. A Cessna 150, you may get it for 115 ish, or a Piper Cherokee 140. Those rent around the same price. So I would say on average you would probably spend $180 to $200 an hour for your training. So that's been my experience. Well, I guess John Collins just answered that question. 80 to 150 per hour for flight lessons. Alex, what is a good starter plane? I'm the wrong guy to ask that, but to be honest, after reviewing and seeing a lot of airplanes, and you can probably talk to Carl at ENTP Live, Cherokees, you can't go wrong with any Cherokees out there. The 140s, the 160s, or Cherokee 180, those are really good starter planes. If your goal is to build time and still have something that can take you, from A to B, I would say consider the Piper Cherokees, or I would look into a 150. 150 Cessna 150 are great for just to build time, because they're not the fastest airplane, but they're really safe, and you can learn a lot from flying a Cessna 150. Now, there are other airplanes you can get in the same price range as the 150s and the Cherokees. The Piper Tomahawk is one. You can get those anywhere from 20 all the way to 30,000. Moonies, I believe the M20C, those are pretty affordable, but I would stay away from Moonies if you're a fresh pilot, because those are retractable landing gear, so it's considered a complex airplane. And also, a Mooney M20 is much more faster than, say, a Cherokee or a Cessna 150. So you're flying a faster airplane than the Mooney, but it's around the same price range if you want to jump into that. But honestly, I would stick with a fixed landing gear airplane if you are new or if you're a low time pilot. That's just my opinion. Hey, Chapin Nation, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And I don't see any more questions. Let me see what else I wanted to cover here. Oh, guys, so I wanted to ask you if there. So part of the work on my end as a content creator is I try to diversify the videos on the channel as much as possible. Obviously, the niche here is aviation, and I've tried to get as many different style of videos on the channel as I possibly can. Obviously, some of them do well and some of them don't do well. So I wanted to ask you, what type of videos do you want to see outside of just airplane reviews? Because airplane reviews, that's a given. We're gonna do that, but what type of videos or what style of videos would you want to see on the channel moving forward. That helps me out because I'm able to, see if I can make them, and hopefully, again, continue in the diversification of the content on the channel. So that is one question I wanted to pose to you. I'm gonna see here. I don't think I have any more questions. Guys, ask me any question. I'm here for another few minutes. If you want to ask any question, doesn't have to be aviation related. It could be any question. If you want to get to know Mike, I'm reading the comment here. Dylan wants to see more just aircraft Highlander. Ooh, as opposed to Superstall. So, guys, we checked out just aircraft. They build basically tailwheel aircraft and STOL airplanes, and one of the models they have is called the Highlander, and I believe their bread and butter is really the Super STOL, which they're selling as a light sport and as an experimental. The Highlander, I don't know if they're still building those or selling those, because think of the Super STOL as a derivative of the Highlander. The Highlander, I believe, was the very first or one of the first models that they had, and then they introduced the Super STOL. But I will check for you, I promise. So I'll check for you, and if we can feature the Highlander, I'll get it on the channel. But let me note it right now. Make sure this pen is working. So, just aircraft Highlander. And guys, if you hear a heavy fan blowing, that's my computer trying to keep up with the heat of me plugging a HD camera to it. All of a sudden we got like 10 more questions. Can't get TSI and Panage alone, you've made. Hey Robert, you say you can't get the empennage alone? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Did you try to order just a part of the kit, or if you can elaborate on that question, that would be really helpful. Taha, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. How much is the average cost to rent a hangar per month? That depends on where you are. Here in the state of Georgia, I've been to places where the cost to rent a hangar is only $150 a month. And if you ask Carl, who is based in New York, the average cost there is $800 to $850 per month. So you're looking at $150 in some places, even $100 in some places, and you could be looking at $1,000 in other places. So the cost really would depend on your location. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Kimberly, are you saying you want to see more videos of experimental avionics, or you just, I don't know if you were suggesting that for an answer or question, but I'll note it anyway. Just let me know if that's what you meant. So guys, if you're just joining the live stream, I was asking what type of videos or topics would you like me to cover on MojoGrip that I haven't covered yet, or that you like to, or that I have covered and you like to see more. Other than airplane reviews, I want to know other stuff that you guys would like to see. Raybeam 3, any thoughts about the Air Coupe? So, Air Coupe is... I would consider it a light sport. It's actually one of the airplanes that I looked at, but to be honest with you, it's not. It doesn't. It depends on your mission. To me, for a cross country mission that I wanted, it didn't fit the bill. It's a small two-seater. It's nice and sporty. It's a very, very old airplane, and it's also affordable to buy. Now I don't know how much it costs to maintain it, And I remember one thing that was a deal breaker with the Earl Coupe. I think it was the fact that, I don't know, it doesn't have, what doesn't it have? Was it flaps or rudders? So I think the Earl Coupe didn't have a specific control that, and that was a deal breaker for me. But it is a really neat airplane. I don't want to bash it because it is a really neat airplane, and it's actually an airplane you can consider as a first, as an entry level airplane. But there was something, that a control surface that it didn't have. I don't know if it was flaps or rudders, something it didn't have that and that's why I stopped looking at it. So that's my opinion on the Earl Coupe. Let me see. More questions. More questions. All right. Depends on location. Steven, am I going to review more helicopters? So I want to. I'll be honest. And a while back, I when I spoke on a live video, what I noticed was the few helicopters videos that I've done on the channel, they didn't do so well. As a matter of fact, it was almost like people didn't want to watch them. And the interesting thing is, one of the most popular videos on this channel is actually one of a helicopter. So the answer to that question is I don't know. Because, and the reason why I initially scrapped helicopters from the channel is because it cost me money to go out and get these videos. Generally, I would say 90 to 95% of all of the videos or airplane reviews that you see on the channel, it's out of state. So I have to travel to the location and I have to get the clips. And my hope is that it's worth it for me in terms of I'll be able to make some of the money back at least. But if I go out, say I went out to California a while back, it cost me, a trip like that will cost at least $1,000 to $2,000, right? And if I go and I went to film some helicopters and then I put those videos up and it's not being watched, or it's not performing even to the average level of other videos that I have on the channel. So it's a matter of if it's worth it for me. I would love to get more helicopter videos, and to be honest, if I get the opportunity locally where I can either drive to, or if the manufacturers or designers are willing to sponsor the trip, then I'll definitely get more helicopter videos. But for now, I'm not investing my out of pocket money to go film helicopters because they're not doing so well on the channel. But if you guys want to see, as a matter of fact, I'll put up a poll in the community tab, and if more people tell me they want to see helicopters, then I probably will get some on the channel for you. Okay. Mike Marks, my thoughts on the mall. So I don't have an opinion on mall, but I know they're very popular still airplanes, and they're actually based here in Georgia as well. I remember reaching out to them a while back. Maybe I should reach out again. It was one of the aircraft that I wanted to feature on the channel. So until I get a chance to review the airplane, I don't really have any opinion on them. Okay, Kamade wants to see more CFI DPE interviews. Okay, so CFI basically flight instructors, and DPE are, think of DPE, these are the people who that flies with you on your check ride. So whenever you spend all the money to get your pilot training, and then whenever the big exam for every pilot is called a check ride, and the person they're called examiners, I believe. So the person who's basically looking at you and giving you a check mark or score on how well you're flying, how well your knowledge is, that's your DPE. So That's easy. I'll try and get more CFIs and DPE to talk to you guys. Um, Hired Gun. Hold on. Oh, that's a 05. Hired Gun wants to know. Hired Gun 05. What is the consensus of learning by flying a desktop computer with flight sim setup? I would let somebody who's experienced with that talk to you, but in my general opinion, I actually think it's good. As a matter of fact, during your training, that's one of the things. If you, whether you're training to, somebody just caught my eyes. Brand, I'm just gonna pronounce it as Brand. Hey, I appreciate the $5, man. Thank you. So answering the question about flight sims, I think it will definitely be helpful whether you decide to go all the way and get your license or not. If you are getting your license, it's actually a supplementary tool that I would encourage everybody to have, because flying is a very perishable skill. If you fly, or you're training to fly, and you take time off, so you take a week or 2 weeks off, you're gonna lose a lot of that muscle memory. And one way you can keep your knowledge updated and your skill updated is to fly with a sim at home. So to answer that question, my consensus on it is you should do it if you can. And for our club in Savannah, I'll check you out, man. Gone Marble starts on the Zenith 750. I haven't checked out the Zenith at their factory, but actually one of the earliest videos on this channel was a Zenith 750. I believe Bill was his name. Bill, he was building a Zenith and with a UL power engine. Let me see if I can find that video real quick. I'll find it and post it in the comments. Guys, keep asking. I will be heading out in a little bit. Let's see. Oh, there you go. So guys, check out this video. Gone Marbles, check out this video. My personal opinion on the airplane itself, I think it's a neat build. It's a kit. Obviously, you have to buy the kit and build it. And I know of pilots or owners who build it with Rotaxes, that build them with Corvair engines, Viking engines, and then the guy I interviewed, Bill, he built one with a UL power. They're very neat airplanes, and they have amazing stow capabilities. And honestly, if I get a chance to check them out, I would really like to go down to their factory and get a closer look on the airplane. Maurice, if I get a chance, I will do it for the Bell helicopter. Hey Robert, if you are interested in ordering a TSI kit or any parts of the TSI, I would talk to Barry. As a matter of fact, let me leave his hold on, give me 1 second. Let's get Barry's email here. We're about to make you popular, Barry. So the right guy to talk to at the airplane factory is Barry J. He will answer all of your questions as he did for me. And this is his email address. Anyone who is interested in learning anything about the Sling TSI, if you don't know, or if you're new to this channel, the Sling TSI is an experimental 4-seater. It's the same airplane that I'm building, and it's built and manufactured, designed by the airplane factory from South Africa, and they're based also here in the United States in Torrance. And Barry J is the right person to talk to. So I would shoot him an email, Robert, and see, he'll answer all the questions you need for you. And I do think that you can just get an empennage if you want to. I don't think they're gonna hold you to buying the whole kit, but I could be wrong. Ask Barry. He'll be a better person to answer that question. Um, hey, Jean Louis, you're awesome, man. Thank you. Okay, I'm trying to fly through this question. All of a sudden, you guys have a lot of questions. Um, okay, point block. That's not a question. Tony Brown, thank you all the way from San Diego. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Okay, let me fly through the rest of these questions. Hey, James McCray, I appreciate it, man. And reach out to me if you have any questions. My email is mike@mojogrip.net. I'll be happy to answer or help you out with your training, whatever you need, okay? Um, oh, Krish. Here goes another buddy of mine. Krish is in the chat, guys, and he has his channel is Aviator 51 right here. Make sure you check him out. Krish, if you've seen a bunch of videos of the Grumman Tiger, that's Krish's airplane. And actually, we're flying out together to the AOPA fly-in. And you guys check out his channel. Make sure you subscribe. He makes some cool flying videos with the Grumman Tiger. So make sure you check him out. Hey, Mike. Thank you, my namesake. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Oh, looks like we're... Can't. Thank you, man. I appreciate the love, guys. All right, I'm scooping. Now it's a competition. Hey, Robert, thank you so much. All right, let's scoop through these questions. Hey, Bulldog 828, thank you. I appreciate you tuning in from New York. Wow. So Carl just posted. He says I'm willing to pay $350. Jesus Christ. $350 for a tie down. So again, earlier in the chat, somebody asked how much does it cost, or what is the average cost for a hangar space in just generally, and my answer was it depends on your location. And Carl just posted that he's willing to pay $350 for a tie down. So guys, if you don't know what a tie down is, generally you want to have a hangar because you get better protection for your airplane. You protect it against weather or just natural disaster. Whereas if you cannot afford to have it in a hangar, or your local airport is sold out of hangars, you can have a tie down. And apparently wherever Carl is, you have to fight for tie down space also, and it costs $350. I can tell you right now that here in the state of Georgia, you can probably find tie downs for $45. So you're paying a premium in New York for everything aviation, I'm guessing. I don't even want to ask how much it costs to I don't even want to ask how much it costs to fuel up out there. I'm not even gonna ask. Okay. So Kamadi, you also want to see more videos of experimental avionics and avionics upgrade. Okay. So guys, keep suggesting. Like I said, I'm using this as an opportunity also to get, different opinions and different topics I can talk about on the channel outside of just reviewing airplanes for you guys. Let's see, what more. Mark Perkins, have you considered visiting Kit Fox? If that opportunity rises, I will go down to Kit Fox. As a matter of fact, I've been talking to, you guys may be familiar with Corey. He's one of the guys with the Flying Cowboys. So one of the videos I would love to make is to just interview all those guys. They're like the celebrities of aviation. So the Flying Cowboys, you can look them up. And also one of their popular YouTubers is Trent Palmer. He flies a Kit Fox. So if I get the opportunity, I would check out Kit Fox. It's just a matter of time. And also so guys, if you've been following the channel, for me with my airplane build, like right now that I'm able to make this live video, in I would say the next 3 to 5 weeks is what I'm estimating. My time will be limited because I'm gonna be out in California and filming and trying to document the airplane build. Hold on 1 second. Somebody is walking behind me. I think that's my wife. Hold on. Babe, everything good back there? Okay, I need you to stop sneaking behind me because it's weird as fuck. Okay, that was my wife. I'm just hearing sounds in the back and I'm like, who's that? Anyway, I don't know if you guys can see the back there, but that's just my wife. She's just sneaking around the house. By the way, the rule in the house is if I'm live streaming, every door gets shut. So she just broke the rules there. Hey, everybody using the super chat, man, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. So what I was saying about timing, I'm gonna try to get as much of these videos as I can, but I know that moving forward, starting in the month of October, oops, I thought I saw something, sorry, starting in the month of October, a lot of things just spooking me out right now. Starting in the month of October, my time will be limited to be able to travel to different places to film, but we'll see. All right, I'm gonna answer 2 more questions and then we're out. Hey, D Barn, Mike, I think you have a great opportunity to train your subscribers. D Barn, you are not, I repeat, you're not allowed to read my mind. Okay, but just keep watching the channel. Maybe that might happen. Who knows? And yes, D Barn, it's one of the things that I'm considering in trying to get a partner and see how that goes. Eric MS, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Okay, some of these stuff is just is making me laugh. Hey, D-Barn, thank you so much for donating to the build. Hey guys, if you are new to the channel, I have a GoFundMe for my airplane build. I'm gonna leave the link. Actually, I believe the link is already in the description of this video. If you have not donated, please, here's an opportunity for you to do so. The funds that I'm raising basically is gonna help me with the build assist, which I've talked in depth in my last live video, which also the live video that I made, I talked mostly about the cost. And this week I'm gonna release a video that's a short format. So if you did not catch that live video, which is like an hour long, I'm doing a video that's probably like 10 to 15 minutes long, where I break down all the costs for the Sling TSI. But with the GoFundMe, the funds that are being raised is going to help towards the build assist, which I'm going to be building the airplane with, and then also some of the filming costs. The filming costs has to do with traveling, getting a place to stay there, and just filming and editing in general. So, and I greatly appreciate everyone who has not only donated or supported the project, but also just shared the videos on MojoGrip. I really appreciate it, guys. But if you haven't supported or donated, you have an opportunity to do so. Check out the link. And please ask me any questions. If you have any questions regarding it, ask me any question. All right, guys. I think I'm going to call it a night. I'm trying to see one more. Okay, no more questions. But guys, again, you can always reach me at mike@mojogrip.net. I check all of the emails there. So you can always email me with questions. I'm also on Instagram. As a matter of fact, make sure you follow MojoGrip on Instagram. I'm typing it right now. Instagram. So guys, make sure you follow at MojoGrip on Instagram. It's MojoGrip everywhere. If you search on Facebook too, make sure you follow me on Instagram. All right, so I'm gonna call it a night. Dylan, I'm gonna read your question after I go offline. I'll try to answer it, but I gotta run. Amado M, thank you so much, man. My Nigerian brother. So Amado is tuning in all the way from Nigeria. If you're not familiar with my story, I'm also Nigerian born and raised, and I'm proud of my Nigerian culture and all the other stuff that has to do with being a Nigerian. So I really appreciate you, man, because I know there's no electricity out there. So I really appreciate you tuning in all the way from Nigeria. All right, guys. So we're gonna call this a night. I think we've talked about everything. And Carl, thank you, man. I really appreciate it, and I will catch you guys. Be sure to just stay tuned for a video will drop on Tuesday night. I'm gonna keep to my normal upload, so Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. All right, so I will catch you all on the next video. Peace. And ends.